day? Okay. We can start. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وآله وصحبه الميامين. معالي راعي الحفل الأستاذ الدكتور عبد الله يوسف الحواج، الرئيس المؤسس ورئيس مجلس أمناء الجامعة، سعادة الأستاذ الدكتور عبد الله دحلان، رئيس مجلس أمناء جامعة الأعمال والتكنولوجيا، سعادة الأستاذ الدكتور منصور أحمد العالي، رئيس الجامعة الأهلية، أصحاب السعادة النواب والشوريين والوكلاء والرؤساء والأكاديميين والباحثين والمشاركين في هذا المؤتمر، الحضور الكريم، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، وأسعد الله صباحكم بكل خير. ويسرنا أن نرحب بكم أجمل ترحيب في النسخة السادسة من مؤتمر تكافؤ الفرص بين المرأة والرجل، الذي تنظمه الجامعة الأهلية بالتعاون مع جامعة الأعمال والتكنولوجيا في جدة وجامعة برونيل البريطانية، حيث تعنى هذه النسخة بالقيادة المستدامة وإدارة الابتكار والتكنولوجيا، وبالتعاون مع العديد من الجهات الحكومية والخاصة، وفي مقدمتها الأمانة العامة لمجلس التعليم العالي والأمانة العامة للمجلس الأعلى للمرأة. إن مملكة البحرين استطاعت بفضل قيادتها الحكيمة أن تحقق مكاسب كبيرة للمرأة، كما كان ولا يزال لصاحبة السمو الملكي الأميرة سبيكة بنت إبراهيم الخليفة قرينة جلالة الملك المفدى رئيسة المجلس الأعلى للمرأة حفظها الله دور رئيسي في تعزيز جهود تمكين المرأة وإثبات قدراتها في المشاركة الاقتصادية والسياسية والتنموية، فأتاحت لها الفرصة لكي تمارس دورها في العطاء والبناء والتنمية. مع كلمة الرئيس المؤسس للجامعة وربان سفينتها وقائد مسيرتها منذ تأسيسها في العام 2001 الأستاذ الدكتور عبد الله يوسف الحواج، فليتفضل مشكورا.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. في البداية اسمحوا لي أول شيء أن أشكركم جميعا على الحضور والاهتمام بهذا الموضوع، وأتقدم بالشكر الجزيل الحقيقة والامتنان إلى معالي الدكتور عبد الله دحلان رئيس مجلس أمناء جامعة الأعمال والتكنولوجيا الشقيقة بجدة، ومعالي الدكتور محمد أبو شعيرة أيضا رئيس مجلس إدارة جامعة الزرقاء ورئيس جامعة الزرقاء، وتقدم بالشكر إلى أيضا سعادة الدكتور الشيخ خالد بن محمد بن عبد الله الخليفة أيضا رئيس مجلس أمناء جامعة الUCB الكلية الجامعية، وأيضا سعادة الدكتور غرم الله رئيس الجامعة العربية المفتوحة في البحرين، وكل الجماعة أصحاب السعادة، دكتور خالد وكيل الوزارة، والشيخ إشاع وحنين ورؤى، ورئيس الجامعة أيضا رئيس جامعة الزرقاء، كلكم ضيوف أعزاء أنا دائما أتحاشى يعني ذكر الأسماء، ولكن اليوم عندنا أعلام وعندنا يقولون جبال، فنبي نقول للجماعة شوفوا شلون اهتمام الجامعات واهتمام هذه القامات أيضا بتكافؤ الفرص. ولذلك الحقيقة سعادتي كبيرة جدا. طبعا أنا أشوف الحضور فعلا تكافؤ الفرص موجودة. طبعا احنا مغلوبين كرجال، ولكن الحقيقة اللي أنا أتمنى دائما أذكرها، والحمد لله طبعا أيضا أرحب بشركائنا من برونيل، الدكتور ستيفن، الدكتورة ماري، أيضا كل الطريق من برونيل إلى هنا للمشاركة. ونسينا بعد نقول أختنا وبنتنا الدكتورة رائدة من جمعية المهندسين، رئيسة الجمعية، وكل الأحباب، نواب الرئيس ونواب الرئيس والعمداء والأساتذة، الكل يشارك اليوم في هذا المؤتمر. وكما تشوفون الآن ينظم من قبل 3 جامعات، 3 شركاء، هي الجامعة الأهلية وجامعة الأعمال والتكنولوجيا في جدة وجامعة برونيل البريطانية، وإن شاء الله أيضا نضيف لنا جامعة الزرقاء والجامعات الأخرى المشاركة. وجودكم الحقيقة هو تأكيد أول شيء لأهمية هذا المؤتمر ولأهمية الموضوع في هذا المؤتمر. وأنا سعيد جدا أن أقول لكم هذه هي النسخة السادسة. أول ما بدينا قبل 6 سنوات كنا يعني متخوفين. اليوم المؤتمر له زخم كبير، كما أسمع أنه أكثر من 200 بحث قدم لهذا المؤتمر. عدد الأبحاث اللي قبلت تمثل بس 40 أو 50% مما تقدم لهذا المؤتمر، ومن أكثر من 22 دولة تقدمت لهذا المؤتمر. ولذلك هذا يعزز ما تؤمن به مملكة البحرين. نحن نريد أن نؤكد للجميع أن البحرين هذه المملكة الصغيرة في تعدادها وفي مساحتها، لكنها كبيرة في تطلعاتها وكبيرة في رسالتها، رسالة المحبة، رسالة السلام، رسالة التواجد، الكو اكزيستنس بحب. وهذه هي رسالة جلالة الملك لنا جميعا. وتؤكد الرسالة المجلس الأعلى للمرأة، يؤكدها في كل مكان. وأنا سعيد جدا أتذكر قبل 20 سنة عندما كانت البحرين في مشروع حضاري عظيم كبير، وهو المشروع الإصلاحي لجلالة الملك، وتشرفت أنا بأن أكون عضواً في اللجنة العليا لإعداد ميثاق العمل الوطني وممثلاً للجنة التعليم، وتشرفت بإلقاء الكلمة أمام جلالة الملك عندما سلمناه مشروع الميثاق. أتذكر من اليوم الأول كيف كان حظوظ المرأة من أول يوم في المشروع، والمرأة حصلت على كل حقوقها الانتخابية من اليوم الأول. اللي يرجع 21 سنة إلى الوراء اليوم تبين سهلة، المرأة تصوت وترشح وتنتخب، لكن قبل 21 سنة كانت ثورة. عادة مشاريع الإصلاح تأتي من القاعدة، وتعارضها القمة وتحصل عرضات. احنا مشروع الإصلاح في البحرين أتى من القمة وتلقفه الشعب، تلقفناه بكل أريحية، ولذلك حققنا المستحيل. البحرين اليوم تسير في هذا الاتجاه، تسير لأن تكون فعلا دولة المحبة، دولة السلام، دولة التآخي، دون أن نفرط في حقوقنا العربية وحقوقنا الفلسطينية أبدا. تؤكد البحرين في كل موقع وفي كل مكان ذلك. ولذلك في هذا المؤتمر الحمد لله نتمنى أن نؤكد لقيادتنا ونؤكد للجميع بأننا نسير في هذا الاتجاه، وأن الجامعة الأهلية منذ أن أنشئت قبل 21 سنة كان هدفها التغيير في نمط التعليم، التغيير في كثير من الأمور، حتى وصلنا إلى ما وصلنا إليه بأن تكون الجامعة الأهلية جامعة بحثية أيضا. العام الماضي كانت عدد الأبحاث تفوق 130 بحث تقدمت بها الجامعة الأهلية، وفي كل سنة نزداد 10 أو 20 بحث. والآن نحن في تعاون مثمر مع جامعة الأعمال والتكنولوجيا في هذا الاتجاه. نتمنى أن نكون دائما مبدعين، ولذلك عنوان المؤتمر اليوم مهم جدا لما نتكلم عن السستينابيليتي ليدرشيب وعن الانوفيشن. هذه هي الأسباب التي كانت وراء إنشاء الجامعة الأهلية قبل 21 سنة. وأنا بكل سعادة أنقل لكم، يعني التقيت بالحبيب الأخ الدكتور عبد الله دحلان قبل عدة سنوات، وهو أنشأ جامعة الأعمال والتكنولوجيا في جدة، وتعجبت كل ما مررت به مر به الدكتور بكل خطواتها وبكل عراقيلها وبكل لحظات، أحيانا لحظات صعبة وأحيانا لحظات جميلة. وقضينا ليلة كاملة أتذكر نتحدث في هذا الموضوع. وفي اليوم الثاني اتصل بي الدكتور عبد الله وقال لي أريد أن أشاركك حلمك. يعني فأنا الحقيقة عاجز عن الشكر، وأقول له الحمد لله إننا بخير، الحمد لله الجامعة الأهلية تحقق في كل يوم خطوة إلى الأمام على المستوى العالمي. اليوم في الكيو اس وصلنا عالميا إلى 651 إلى 700، وهذا إنجاز. وإن شاء الله في 23 سنحقق أيضا قفزة في هذا العدد. على المستوى العربي في الآخر 5 و6 سنوات نحن في أعلى 50 جامعة في الوطن العربي. في التايمز هاير إديوكيشن إمباكت فاكتورز الجامعة الأهلية 101 بلس على العالم بين 1900 جامعة. وفي الاس دي جي 4 اللي هو في التعليم العالي رقم 13 على العالم في 22، ورقم 21 على العالم في 23. وهذا شيء إنجاز عظيم الحقيقة. وفي معظم السستينابيلتي ديفلوبمنت اللي دعت إليها الأمم المتحدة كل المؤشرات تؤكد بأننا نتقدم في كل سنة، ونتمنى أن تكون كل مؤسساتنا في البحرين على هذا النحو حتى نصل في 2030 إلى تحقيق المؤشرات كلها، إلى تحقيق 17 هدف اللي دعت إليه الأمم المتحدة. فنحن في الجامعة الأهلية ومع شركائنا إن شاء الله نسير في هذا الاتجاه. ولذلك اليوم الحقيقة في هذا المؤتمر اسمحوا لي يعني على أي تقصير، ولكن وجودكم معنا هو مكسب حقيقي. ووجود الباحثين للأسف بعض منهم طبعا لم يتمكن من السفر، فبعضهم سوف يكونون على الأونلاين، ولكن الأغلبية موجودة في البحرين الحمد لله. 22 جنسية موجودة عندنا في البحرين، وهذا فخر واعتزاز الحقيقة لنا جميعا. وقبل أن أختتم لا بد أن أتقدم بالشكر الجزيل والكبير إلى مجلس التعليم العالي، وما ننسى الحقيقة سعادة الدكتورة الشيخة رنا متعيسة بنت عيج آل خليفة رئيس الأمين العام نائب رئيس مجلس التعليم العالي على كل الدعم الذي قدم للجامعات كلها في البحرين. في آخر سنتين التعليم العالي في البحرين يشهد أزهى عصوره، ولذلك وجب الشكر ووجب التقدير، متمنيا أن نصل إلى ما نسعى إلى تحقيقه، وهو أن تكون البحرين المحطة الرئيسية لجذب التعليم العالي في محيطها، على أقل تقدير في دول مجلس التعاون، وأن تكون محطة رئيسية في وطننا العربي الكبير. وهذا كان هدف أساسي. اليوم البحرين تحتضن 20 جامعة. البحرين بلد صغير وتعدادها صغير قلنا، ولذلك لا بد أن نستقطب أو نجتذب طلاب من الخارج. والبحرين البلد المضياف، البلد المنفتح الذي يحب الناس كلهم، هذه أكبر نقطة نجذب بها الطلاب لنحقق ما تحدثنا عنه قبل 21 سنة بأن تكون البحرين بوسطن الخليج. فاليوم 20 جامعة في هذه المنطقة لو تعاوننا مع بعض. وقبل 3 أيام كنت في حديث مع الأمين العام الدكتورة، وتحدثت عن مشروع إن شاء الله عندهم لتعاون الجامعات في البحرين كلها في البحث العلمي وفي مصادر المكتبة والكذا، أن نتعاون مع بعض. وأيدت الفكرة، وسنعمل إن شاء الله على تحقيقها لنصل إلى هدفنا الأساسي. اسمحوا لي على التطويل، ولكن أمام كل هذه الوجوه الجميلة لا يسع الإنسان إلا أن ينحني تقديرا لكم جميعا. فأهلا ومرحبا بكم في بلادكم، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
نشكر الأستاذ الدكتور عبد الله يوسف الحواج على كلمته القيمة. تعد جامعة الأعمال والتكنولوجيا في جدة بالمملكة العربية السعودية إحدى منارات الوعي والتطوير المتميزة على مستوى المملكة العربية السعودية وعموم المنطقة. يؤكد ذلك تحقيقها المرتبة الثانية بين مؤسسات التعليم العالي الأهلي في السعودية من حيث إجمالي عدد البرامج المعتمدة وطنياً، بما يعكس ما وصلت إليه من تطور ويبرهن على أهمية الدور الذي تضطلع به في مجالات البحث العلمي، حيث تشكل عناوين البحث العلمي وتمكين المرأة مجالات اهتمام مهمة لدى الجامعة. مع كلمة رئيس مجلس أمناء جامعة الأعمال والتكنولوجيا الأستاذ الدكتور عبد الله دحلان، فليتفضل مشكورا.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أنا لست خطيبا مثل الأستاذ الدكتور عبد الله حواج، ولكن نحن كأكاديميين بضاعتنا نقل المعلومة والخطابة، نجيد التحدث كثيرا ويجيد طلبتنا السكوت والإنصات. بكل الفخر والاعتزاز تشارك جامعة الأعمال والتكنولوجيا، الجامعة التي أسست في نفس الفترة التي أسست فيها الجامعة الأهلية، والجامعة التي حققت نتائج إيجابية كبيرة في مجال البحث العلمي والاعتماد الأكاديمي، وأيضا في مجالات ربط التعليم بسوق العمل وضمان وظيفة لكل متخرج. كما أنا فخور هذا اليوم أن أقف أمامكم في دولة البحرين العريقة، صاحبة المجد العريق، التي كانت محطة التجارة والتبادل التجاري في القديم، بلد الكرم والضيافة. نعم، في عهد مليكها حققت وولي عهده حققت إنجازات كبيرة في مجالات مختلفة، في التعليم، في التجارة والصناعة، وفي التطوير العمراني. لا شك أن دولة ذات مساحة صغيرة استطاعت أن تحجز اسمها ومركزها وسط مجموعة كبيرة من دول العالم. لم يأتي هذا إلا بجهد الرجال والمخلصين. شكرا لكل من شارك هذا اليوم. الجامعة الأهلية تقود مجموعة من الجامعات الأهلية: جامعة الأعمال والتكنولوجيا بجدة بالمملكة العربية السعودية، جامعة برونيل في بريطانيا لندن، جامعة الزرقاء في الأردن، جامعة مسقط، وجامعات أخرى تشارك هذا اليوم. كم هو مهم جدا أن نناقش موضوعا قد قلبنا صفحته في الماضي. لم يكن هناك مساواة بين المرأة والرجل في منطقة الخليج عامة، وأحمد الله وأشكره بأننا في المملكة العربية السعودية منذ أن تولى خادم الحرمين الشريفين الملك سلمان بن عبد العزيز وولي عهده الأمير محمد بن سلمان، حققت المرأة نتائج إيجابية كبيرة في مجال المساواة في العمل وفي الحرية للعمل واختياراته في مجالات مختلفة، حتى أصبح قضية المساواة قضية قديمة لا نعرفها، بل المرأة قد تقدمت على الرجل في مجالات عديدة. وعليه فنحن فخورين كل الفخر بأن المساواة التي كنا نحكي عنها في القديم أصبحت اليوم تمثل بالنسبة لنا تاريخا ماضي لا نذكره، بل نفتخر بتواجد العنصر النسائي الذي قاد التنمية ولا زال يقودها إلى مراتب أفضل بجودة عالية وبدقة في العمل والإنتاج. وعندما يتطرق هذا اللقاء عن التميز والابتكار، لا شك أننا في مرحلة جديدة من مراحل التطور التعليمي. لقد قلبنا صفحة التعليم التقليدي وتحولنا بكل مؤسساتنا التعليمية إلى نظام جديد، ورب ضارة نافعة. كانت أزمة كورونا كوفيد-19 هي بداية التغيير الكبير الذي تحقق. لم تكن دول الخليج تؤمن بأهمية الأونلاين كورسز أو ديجري. اليوم أصبح حقيقة واقعية، بل مفروضة. بل وضعت بعض من الجامعات في دول الخليج بل اتفقت بعض من الجامعات أو بعض من الوزارات على تقديم 25% من إجمالي المقرر عن طريق الأونلاين كورسز، وهذا تحول كبير في الفكر. نحن في أمس الحاجة لأن نحدث تغييرا في المناهج، نحدث تغييرا في طرق التدريس، نحدث تغييرا في التفكير. لا نريد تعليما تقليديا يعتمد على التلقين، ولكن نريد تعليما حديثا متطور يعتمد على الابتكار والبحث عن كل ما هو جديد. لماذا لا نبحث عن نظريات جديدة في الرياضيات ونظريات جديدة في الفيزياء والكيمياء؟ لا بد أن هناك فكر جديد وبأسلوب جديد وبتقنية جديدة تدفعنا نحن العرب، تدفعنا نحن في هذه المنطقة، تدفعنا نحن الأكاديميين والباحثين والطلبة لأن نخرج للعالم مبتكر جديد. جائزة نوبل ليست حكرا على الدول الصناعية الكبرى، ولكنها متاحة لكل من يبدع وكل من يبتكر وكل من يفكر في الابتكار والإبداع. أنا فخور جدا أن أكون معكم هذا اليوم وأن أشارك في بعض من الجلسات كمستمع. وأؤكد لكم بأن التعليم الأهلي الذي لم يكن معترف به في القديم أصبح واقع ينافس الجامعات الحكومية. ونحن في المملكة العربية السعودية نفخر بوجود أكثر من 33 جامعة وكلية جامعية بها 160 ألف طالب، يتخرج منها كل عام 30 ألف طالب، يحصل 85% من خريجيهم على وظائف قبل تخرجهم. وهذا هو النجاح، وهذا هو نجاح التعليم الأهلي الذي يربط التعليم باحتياجات سوق العمل. لا نريد دراسات نظرية، تخصصات نظرية لا نستطيع أن نبحث لأصحابها عن وظائف، بل ألغيت تلك الوظائف، وإعادة بناء التخصصات النظرية لتخصصات مهنية سيكلفنا أضعاف بنائهم من الأساس. وعليه فإن طرح أي ابتكار جديد قد يفيد كل مؤتمر ومنتدى. وأتمنى على الباحثين أن لا تكون أبحاثهم نظرية، ويربطوا البحث بالابتكار، يربط الأبحاث بالابتكار، يربط الأبحاث بمنتج جديد نستطيع أن نضعه تحت التجربة ونستفيد منه. لقد أطلت عليكم، ولكنني كما قلت بضاعتنا نحن الأكاديميين وأنتم تعرفون الخطابة والإلقاء، وبضاعتكم الإنصات. شكرا لكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
نشكر الأستاذ الدكتور عبد الله دحلان على كلمته القيمة والمؤثرة. اعتنت الجامعة الأهلية منذ تأسيسها بإتاحة فرص متكافئة بين المرأة والرجل في هيئتها الإدارية وكذلك الأكاديمية وفي المقاعد السنوية التي تتيحها الجامعة لطلبتها المستجدين. فمثلت المرأة أستاذة وموظفة وطالبة 50% أو أكثر، واستطاعت أن تحجز بكل جدارة عدة مواقع قيادية في عمادات وإدارات الجامعة، فكانت شريكة رئيسية في مختلف الإنجازات الأكاديمية التي حققتها الجامعة على مستوى التقارير المشرفة لهيئة جودة التعليم والتدريب أو على صعيد الجوائز والإشادات الخارجية بأداء الجامعة وإنجازاتها العلمية. مع كلمة رئيس الجامعة الأهلية الأستاذ الدكتور منصور العالي، فليتفضل مشكورا.
السلام عليكم جميعا، صباح الخير. اعذروني، سوف أتحدث باللغة الإنجليزية بكلمة مكتوبة، حيث أنه يوجد لدينا بعض الأصدقاء والمشاركين لا يتحدثون اللغة العربية، فاعذروني. وأعتقد أن الدكتور عبد الله والدكتور عبد الله أثروا الكلمات والحضور بكلمات باللغة العربية. Professor Abdullah Al-Hawaj, our founding president, chairman of the board of trustees, the patron of this conference. Professor Abdullah bin Sadiq Dahlan, the founding president of UBT in Jeddah, University of Business and Technology in Jeddah, and our strategic partner with Ahliya. Dr. Mahmoud Abu Shaira, the owner and the founding president of Al-Zarqa University. Sheikh Khalid Al-Khalifa, again the founding president. So we have an elite group in the front here who have founded universities and established education in the Gulf and Arab region. Sheikh Khalid is the owner and founder of UCB, University College Bahrain. Dr. Gharmallah, the president of Arab Open University. And we have from our strategic partners again, Brunel, Dr. Steve Mullins and Dr. Mary Richards. And we have also the president of the Bahrain Society of Engineers, Dr. Raed Al-Alawi. And I'm really happy to see in front of me Sheikh Isha Al-Khalifa, my student at the University of Bahrain, and now a colleague and a friend. So all of you are welcome, and thank you for your presence. So I will read a written speech rather than just verbal initiative. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to the 6th edition of our International Conference on Equal Opportunity. This edition is a contribution of Ahliya commitment to contributing to the welfare of society and the quality of human life. In this year, Ahliya and Brunel University London are jointly organizing the conference with the University of Business and Technology, Jeddah. Our partnership with both universities continues to thrive, demonstrating equal commitment to the delivery of distinguished programs, research, and services aimed at creating better environment for future generations. This year, we continue to discuss issues of equal opportunity, focusing on sustainable leadership and technology innovation management. A wide scope of speakers from different nationalities are participating with diverse topics spanning the boundaries of gender equality, research quality, citizenship development, women leadership, environmental sustainability, government's role, marketing strategies, e-commerce, business intelligence, innovation management measurement, self-employment, sustainable ICT services, energy sustainability, sustainable urban and interior designs, climate technology integration, artificial intelligence, globalization and welfare, cryptocurrencies, transformational and network leadership, social responsibilities, classroom practices, market accessibility, employees engagement, hard-level governance, board-level governance, United Nations SDGs, wireless networks, and power allocation. These are all topics covered by this conference through 150 papers accepted from over, Professor Abdullah said, over 200. The reality is it was 370 papers precisely, and only 150 were accepted. The conference topics cover various sectors and industries operating in the Arab region, Asia, Africa, and beyond, such as higher education, ICT, insurance and banking, urban and interior designs, and SMEs. The successful continuation of this conference for the 6th year demonstrates Ahliya commitment, together with its strategic partners, Brunel and UBT, to providing equal opportunity to all, in particular to women, orphans, and special needs. The university agenda for supporting quality programs and measurements, financial support, and women empowerment. Lately, we have successfully introduced a new course about equal opportunity in public life. This is a free elective to all Ahliya students, and it started this semester. This course in particular was discussed with the Supreme Council for Women, and they gave us their feedback and blessed the running of this course. The course sheds light on the milestones achieved by the Kingdom of Bahrain in enabling women and achieving gender equality, and exploring salient and future gender equality topics. Indeed, it is through the strategic role and direction by the Supreme Council for Women, under the leadership of Her Royal Highness Princess Sabika bint Ibrahim Al Khalifa, President of the Supreme Council for Women in the Kingdom of Bahrain, that great advancements were made in terms of women empowerment in Bahrain. I take this opportunity to express my sincere appreciation to them all. Further, I would like to welcome all the speakers participating in this conference who have spent tremendous efforts in conducting their studies, tackling major issues relevant to the conference topic, and providing us with a valuable opportunity to learn, discuss, and share our views. I also take this opportunity to welcome all participants in the conference. Your presence reflects a genuine awareness of and commitment to the issues of equal opportunity locally and globally. As members of leading institutions committed to equal opportunity, we look forward to you sharing your experiences with us here in this conference. As you know, I've already covered that anyway. I will not say it about the number of papers, so I'll skip that. I want to conclude by thanking the organizing team who worked so hard to make this conference become a reality. I will not be able to mention all the names. Their efforts and commitment made this conference a success. That the papers, all the papers presented in this conference will be published in proceedings and will be Scopus based. That's an achievement for all participants and for Ahliya. I want to name, excuse me if I forget some, names that come to my mind in the front, but all the people who worked so hard to make this conference a success, they have our sincere appreciation and thanks. I want to mention Dr. Isra Al-Dhan, Dr. Thaira Shirawi, Professor Allam Hamdan, Ammar Al-Hawaj, you can see Uday, Talal, Huda, a big team have really worked so hard to make this conference a reality on the ground. I wish you a successful conference and thank you for participating. Thank you.
And now that we are done with our opening speeches, we will switch to English to introduce our first keynote speaker, Mrs. Jihan Al-Marbati, UNPD UNDP Policy Advisor for Sustainable Growth, Energy and Environment and Gender, with a speech titled Gender Equality for the Achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. Mrs. Jihan, please take the floor.
السلام عليكم. صباح الخير. Thank you everyone. وسمحوا لي بعد I will switch to English and I'm finding a difficulty managing this wonderful bouquet in front of me. So I'll try to do that. If we can switch, please. And can we put up the, yes, thank you. شكرا. لا, okay, it's okay, it's fine. Professor Abdullah Al-Hawaj, Professor Abdullah Dahlan, Professor Mansour Al-Ali, good morning. And on behalf of UNDP, again, good morning to distinguished guests and participants as well. On behalf of UNDP, I'd like to thank Al Ahliya University for inviting us here today to speak on the Sustainable Development Agenda, and specifically on gender equality and women empowerment. In my presentation, I will be giving an overview of the Sustainable Development Agenda, how it came about, its main principles and dimensions, and speak about gender equality as a goal in its own right and as a catalyst to achieve all the other SDGs. I assume this is the clicker. UNDP works towards the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goal. We play an integrator role in the Sustainable Development Agenda. We work with countries to expand people's choices. We are on the ground in 170 countries, and we are present in 19 countries in the Arab region. We work towards the Sustainable Development Agenda under a strategic plan which guides our work within a 3x6x3 framework. So we are supporting country towards 3 directions of change: structural transformation, leaving no one behind, and building resilience. Through 6 signature solutions: poverty and inequality, governance, resilience, environment, and energy. And we have a signature solution dedicated to gender equality. And we do that with enhancing enablers such as strategic innovation, digitalization, and development financing. Now, the SDG principles, the SDG agenda is grounded in 3 principles: in universality, which implies that goals and targets are relevant to all governments and actors. They are universal, but they are not the same for every country. They are differentiated. We call it the CBD approach, which is common but differentiated. There are common goals, but they are differentiated as per the context of the countries. Integration, policy integration, means we are balancing the 3 sustainable development dimensions: the social, the dimension, the economic growth, and environmental protection. And we follow an integrated approach which implies managing trade-offs and maximizing synergies. A very important principle of the SDG, of the Sustainable Development Agenda, is leaving no one behind, which advocates that the countries should go beyond averages and aim at 0 occurrences of poverty, of inequalities. Now, the SDGs and the dimensions of the sustainable development, I'm sure many of you in the room remember the MDGs, which were like many years ago. In the 2000s, we had the MDGs. The new development agenda is the Sustainable Development Agenda. It builds on the lessons learned in the Millennium Development Goals, but they are different in a way that the approach is different. They came about with another process, with a different process, with a bottom-up approach. There are 17 SDGs. In the MDGs, we had only 7 or 8, and then 8 MDGs. They are more complex, and they are interrelated. The MDGs were more siloed. We had 7 goals working in silos. The MDGs, they are interrelated. They are part of a more complex framework, which serves 5 Ps, the 5 Ps, which are the people, prosperity, peace, partnerships, and the planet. And all the goals are intertwined within this framework. There is interconnectedness within the goals, which was not there in the MDGs before. And this is important in our work, because when we work on one, we tend to also sometimes treat SDGs like standalone goals, which they're not. There is interconnectedness between the goals, and there are unilateral and there are bilateral, unidirectional and bidirectional relationship between the goals. So they are all interconnected. They may have positive impact, they may have negative impact or neutral impact across each other. And this is very important in the implementation work of the SDGs. Now, gender equality, in order to achieve gender equality and empower women and girls, gender equality is a goal in its own right. Among the 17 goals, we have one goal for gender equality. It is a separate goal, but it affects all the other goals, and we will see how. These are the SDG targets. We have 9 SDG targets. We have 14 indicators. And in the Sustainable Development Agenda, we have, and the Sustainable Development Goals are 17. The targets are 169, and the indicators are 231. 45 out of the 169 targets are mentioned explicitly gender equality, which are the targets that are the goals that are other than the SDGs. And 54 indicators also are targeting gender equality. So you can see that gender equality, although it has its own goal, it affects all the other goals as well. The global gender gaps, what is the progress that has been achieved? يعني مثل ما تفضلتوا, there has been a lot of progress, of course, especially in our country, especially in our area. But globally, يعني gender equality has suffered, mainly in the recent few years because of the pandemic. They say that it would take us another 40 years for men and women to be equally represented in political leadership. We still have a wage gap. We still have a gap in participation in political and in economic spheres. We still have budgets that are non-gender responsive. We still have 1 out of 4 women, which is like 1 out of 4 women, which is like 95% of women face gender-based violence, and 57% of women, they don't have decisions over their own, bodies. So there's still there's a lot of work to be done at the global level. Now, what are the interrelated elements? What is gender equality anyway? Gender equality is the equal rights, opportunities, and outcomes for girls and boys, women and men. It doesn't mean, of course, that women and men are the same. That just means that they have equal access to rights, responsibilities, opportunities, and that does not depend on whether they are men or women. Now, 4 major interrelated elements play into the achievement of gender equality, which is ensuring equal rights, capabilities, and access to resources and opportunities by both men and women. Strengthening women's agency, and when we say women's agency, it means the ability of women to take decisions. Women is the owner of her own life or her own destiny. No more a victim or no more victimized by others. Her ability to make choices and decisions and act upon them, eliminating gender-based violence and discrimination, and transforming power relations at all levels of the society, from individuals and the household and institutions and structures. As I mentioned before, the SDGs are interconnected. you know, and when you achieve one, you will achieve others. But for gender equality specifically, there is a multiple effect. We call it the multiplier effect of gender equality, that when you achieve gender equality, you will achieve, there will be a multiplier effect which will lead to achieving a lot of other goals and targets. So for example, the recognition, reduction, and redistribution of unpaid care work, target 5.4. It benefits a number of SDGs. If we achieve that, because women perform unpaid care work in a disproportionate manner, women live longer than men. News, not news. Good news, bad news. So maybe not very good news for women, because they tend to take care of the elderly. They take care of the family because they live longer. So women play a vital role in providing unpaid care for spouses, for children, for grandchildren sometimes, right? 2.2 billion full-time jobs are performed by women each year in unpaid care work, and unpaid, unmonetized, does not go into the GDP calculation. So this is a huge area, and we have it in everywhere. It's global, not only in the region. So lightening the burden, we talk about lightening the burden. If women had more time in paid work, she will be developing new knowledge and skills, rather than 20 years taking care of the kids and out of the job market, nothing on the CV. Once anything happens, it is very difficult to go into the job market. She participates in public life and will contribute to economic development, and will have improved well-being and health, human capital, and so on. So the benefits of reducing unpaid care work and domestic work for economic growth through increasing investments in public infrastructure, proper employment, and care policies. And that's why this 5.4 will contribute to no poverty, good health and well-being, quality education, clean water, decent work, reduced inequalities, and sustainable cities. It's just an example. So I don't want to take very long, but I thought I'll close with this. The key areas to accelerate progress towards gender equality and SDGs is ensuring equal rights, opportunities, and outcomes for both men and women. Because gender, we say gender equality, but gender doesn't mean women. I mean, we have this misconception that when we say gender, it does not mean women. It means men and women, boys and girls, because both of their needs have to be integrated into the development process, enhancing women's agency, capability, and participation in decision making. And we'd like to emphasize agency, because women now, they are not victims, they are not done upon, they actually hold their destinies in their hands. Transforming power relation at all societal level, in the private sphere and in the public sphere, and eliminating gender-based violence and discrimination. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Jihan. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce our second keynote speaker online through Zoom, Professor Habib Fardoon, the Executive Committee member of IREG, Observatory on Academic Ranking and Excellence, with a speech titled Sustainable Development Goals, Impact on Improving Quality Research at Universities, Arab Region Study Case. Professor Habib Fardoon, please take the mic. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we need a few minutes more.
Recording in
ranking.
progress.
Use these criteria that we just defined by each SDG to evaluate universities' performance in implementing the initiatives to engage with the SDGs. And research performance is one of these evaluated criteria. These ranking agencies use or rank university sustainable performance based on the following set of indicators after reviewing all the SDGs points that...
Dr. Habib?
Yes?
Sorry, there was a glitch. We want you to just repeat again the whole process. Can we start with the first slide, please? Sorry about it.
Start from the beginning?
You can start, Doctor.
Shall I start from the beginning or?
Yes, please, from the beginning. Thank you.
Okay. So again, good morning, everybody. It's my pleasure to join you today, even though it's virtually, and I'm really so sorry for not being able to be with you in person. I want to start thanking Dr. Abdallah Al-Hawaj and Dr. Mansour Al-Ali and Dr. Isra Al-Dahin for the invitation to be part of this event. I'm Habib Fardoon, Executive Member of the IRIC Observatory on Academic Ranking and Excellence. Today, I will be sharing with you the research performance of the Arab countries related to the SDGs and how the ranking organizations measure this performance in its ranking lists. The SDGs can be defined in many ways. I will not be entering in detail for each one of them, but of the way that are defined in which they are asking universities to participate and be part of these SDGs. It's through conducting research and develop innovation solutions to help address the global challenges related to the SDGs, educating students and raise public awareness about the SDGs, fostering a culture of sustainability and responsible behavior, collaborating with other organizations, including businesses, governments, NGOs, to drive sustainable development through research, education, and community outreach. By engaging with the community through local support for sustainable development using their expertise and resources to address local needs and challenges. And finally, by serving as models of sustainability by implementing environmentally friendly policies and practices within their own operations. The Sustainable Development Goals became embedded in the university's daily programs and implemented educational tasks. No agenda, subject, or discipline cannot be related to the SDGs in one way or another. And because of this, all the ranking agencies such as Green Metric, Times Higher Education, and QS rankings use these criteria defined by each one of the SDGs to evaluate universities' performance in implementing the initiative to engage with these SDGs. And research performance is one of the most important indicators to be evaluated by the universities. These ranking organizations rank university sustainable performance not only from the point of view of research, but also number of implemented initiatives and projects at the university to become more environmentally friendly, how universities incorporate sustainable practices into higher education, evaluating universities of their sustainable research practices and performance to measure their sustainability efforts against their peers. Existence of collaboration between universities, governments, business, and other organizations to encourage a coordinated effort towards sustainability. And finally, how universities are adopting new and effective sustainability practices. Starting with QS Sustainable Ranking, it has two categories, environmental impact and social impact. For the environmental impact, it has three indicators representing different performance aspects around environment concerns, such as sustainable institutions, sustainable research, and sustainable education. While the social impact, it has 5 indicators representing these aspects of performance around social, such as equality, knowledge exchange, impact of education, employability, and life quality. Unfortunately, QS is not considering all the SDGs contents. It just focuses on a set of them. And at the same time, it's not allowing all universities to participate in this ranking that they have created. It's only also subject to those universities who has high number of research and sustainability. While Times Higher Education Impact was the first in building such a ranking for sustainability, it's working towards all it's based on each one of the SDGs. Universities can apply for one SDGs or for the whole set of the SDGs, the 17. And in each one of the SDGs, they identify a set of metrics that can give insights about the progress of the university in the, such as research, outreach, teaching, stewardships, and so on. It provides a showcase of the work being delivered by universities in their communities. Finally, we have the Green Metric ranking. This ranking has been built to serve all the SDGs, looking for the infrastructure and setting of the university, energy, climate change, and the university's policies toward it. Same for the waste, water, and transportation. And finally, for education and research. All these ranking organizations collect their data from the research publications, citations, collaboration from the Scopus database, which belongs to Elsevier. And they collect this data based on the 5 years period from the last year. For example, for 2023, right now, they collect the data between 2017 till 2001. Not all publications are considered like indexed in SDGs. A set of requirements should appear in each paper to be considered as a sustainable paper. If the paper, research paper fulfills these requirements, it can be considered then a sustainable publication in one or more SDGs, which means that a paper, any research paper can be considered an SDG, let's suppose 1, and same time an SDG number 2 and SDG number 5. It depends on how it's written and what it includes. These requirements are to have one of the keywords defined by these databases, such as Scopus, as we said before, are the prominent keywords for these, for each one of the SDGs. And these keywords should appear in the title, abstract, or keyword sections of the paper. So if any paper contains any words which is prominent keywords for the SDG number 1 in the title, then in this paper it is considered like SDG, sustainable paper in SDG 1. If it contains it in abstract or keywords, same happens. Now there's an exception of a set of journals that Scopus considered that these journals are sustainable journals or conferences, such as yours right now, because of the topics that the conference or the journal contains. And this makes that any paper published in this conference or in this journal is considered directly like a sustainable research. As an example of these keywords, for the SDG number 1, no poverty, I'm showing you a more based on how much researchers are talking about the SDG number 1 in a certain way and how many times these keywords are being repeated yearly in these research papers. Based on it, the database of Scopus usually create a list of keywords for each one of the SDGs. And using these keywords, you can ask your academics while they're doing research to try to use these keywords in their papers. And we will show later on why also it's needed as it helps the university to improve its impact in research. But also we have to consider that not using any keyword could be, even though it's in the list, it's enough. There is a need to ensure that these keywords are being used correctly in the context of each SDG. And because of this, there is like a certain type of queries that these databases create. where like not by only using, for example, in SDG 1, financial aid is enough. It should be appealing financial aid and poverty in the same time in the title or abstract or the keywords so that it can be considered. Or we can't use only financial aid without poor, and so on. So many of these connections should exist so that the context of the word has sense. If we look to the Arab countries' publications in the last 5 years or 6 years, we can find that all the Arab countries improved their number of publication exponentially. Like in Bahrain, if we look to it, it moved from almost 600 publications in 2017 to almost 2,000 publications in 2020. From these publications, we can see also that they moved from almost half of the papers being published and considered as sustainable papers. In 2017, we have 270 papers, while in 2022, Bahrain has almost 1,100 papers, which means that it's exponentially increasing this number of papers in sustainability. In graphic, we can see that almost all Arab universities or Arab countries are producing more than half of their papers in the last few years in Sustainable Development Goals, or are related to it in one way or another. And yearly they are increasing, except of Syria maybe, and a little bit United Arab Emirates, which is just in the border. In terms of the impact of these publications, we can view that the overall number of citations of the total number of publications of the Arab countries also it has been exponentially increasing, even though here it's not showing that, but it's relative as papers takes times to get cited. But these numbers show that the number of citations yearly is increasing in a good way. So at the same time, we can see that in the second table that all sustainable papers are having the high number of the citations, which means that if any academic wants to improve his profile or improve the university profile, he has to work on to include keywords related to the Sustainable Development Goals, as these attract other researchers to cite their papers and read them more and get them cited. And in terms of numbers, we can see that the Sustainable Development Goal papers at these universities are responsible of almost more than the 80% of the citations in these countries. Like in Bahrain, almost it exceeds the 90%, it's almost in the top of 100. In Jordan, same happens, and somehow in Lebanon and in Qatar. In terms of collaboration, because of these publications that happens in these countries, we can see that the number of collaboration between these countries and the universities at these countries and the external international universities are also at the same time is increasing exponentially. And it's thanks also to that they are discussing topics which is related to sustainability, and this attracts also international universities to work together with researchers from the region. In Bahrain, it moves from almost 56% to 77%, while in United Arab Emirates, it moved from 65 to 77. And in Qatar, it's somehow it's maintaining its position in between the 80s and 75. Now, if we want to compare the work and the initiatives and the development, the performance of Bahrain against the world in each one of these SDGs, starting from initiatives, developing programs, community engagement, research, educating students, and so on, we can see that Bahrain is doing well in almost all of the SDGs. Exponentially doing so good in the SDG number 8, decent work and economic growth, SDG 4, quality education, SDG 12, responsible consumption and production, and in the SDG number 1, which is no poverty. If we take an example of Ahliya University and see their work and their a commitment with the SDGs. We can see that they are also doing really so good in comparison to the Bahraini universities and the world universities, starting in the no poverty, quality education, decent work and economic growth, responsible consumption and production, which provide students and companies in Bahrain a solid relationship. Students can feel really secure to go and study at Ahliya because they produce really good quality education. They take care about decent work and economic growth, which makes their commitment with the community and the industry and business really so high. And for the government, because they show responsible consumption and production of their products. Same time, it's philanthropy of no poverty, taking care of those people who need help. It's also part of their programs. In terms of numbers, Ahliya University has been participating in the rankings since 2019, Sustainable Development Ranking, since it started, 4 years. And as you can see at the beginning, the university ranking was 300 plus between almost 600 universities. It was between 400 to 600 between almost 1,200 universities. In 2021, Ahliya became ranked in almost 100 to 200 between the top 200 universities of the world, between almost 1,800 universities. In 2022, it was ranked in the top 200 universities between almost 2,000 universities. And in terms of each one of these SDGs, in SDG number 4, quality education, Ahliya University is ranked 23 in the world between all those 2,000 universities. In decent work and economic growth, Ahliya is ranked top 200 between 2,000 universities. Reduce inequality, Ahliya is considered also number 17 between the whole university of the world. And in partnership of the goals and relations, Ahliya University is considered top 200, which shows that all what Prof. Abdallah Hawash at the beginning of the speech started explaining how University of Ahliya is committed in building partnerships and to work and deliver their programs correctly to the students for the government is being real through these results. As a conclusion, incorporate the SDGs into the courses, programs, and research initiatives to educate the students and professionals on sustainable developments. Conduct research and innovation to address the challenges posed by the SDGs and share knowledge and expertise with the wider community. Partner with government, civil society, and private sector organizations to support and advance the SDGs. Embed the sustainability into campus operations, infrastructure, and culture. Serve as a model for sustainable development. Engage with the local community and contribute to local sustainable development initiatives. Report on progress towards the sustainable development goals and openly communicate about efforts to advance sustainability can make any university become in the top as Ahliya University is doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Habib.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Habib. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce our third keynote speaker, Professor Mary Richard from Division of Transdisciplinary Studies in Global Change, Brunel University, London, with a speech titled Disseminating Disciplinary Silos, Developing Citizen Graduates Now and for the Regenerative Future. Professor Mary, please take the floor.
Assalamu alaikum. It's lovely to be back here again, and I want to thank Professor Abdullah and Professor Abdullah, who've made my job very easy by sharing a name, for the invitation to speak today. So I'll begin because I know time is pressing. So I'm going to be talking primarily from the UK perspective and what the particular emphasis that Brunel is attempting to grasp this nettle of embedding sustainable development, and then looking at a particular instance where we've had some success, but obviously it's just the starting point for these sorts of things. So with increasing urgency, leaders within higher education in the UK are being encouraged to prioritise a focus on the crucial role education has to play in supporting staff, students and graduates in grasping, or at least some of the complexities of the challenges humanities must address. We've all seen the details and successive Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change reports, which clearly communicate the scale and depth of the existential threats humanity now faces. Our graduates need to have developed more than a knowledge of the intersectional nature of these challenges. They require the critical thinking, analysis and creative skills to not only develop appropriate site-specific, i.e. context-specific responses, but they also have to be able to demonstrate the capacity to critique and evaluate any proposed solutions, their impact on the environment, the community, and the economy more broadly, as well as their potential for unintended consequences. This presentation will primarily consider how Brunel University London has supported the development of a cross-institutional educational programme that fully aligns with the UK government's drive and guidance to embed the ethos and ambition of the SDGs into its higher education provision. Not uncritically, but in ways that aim to encourage students to move beyond the justifiable anger and frustration at the relative lack of progress in the face of these intersecting challenges we face, but also consider the ways in which we can develop regenerative thinking and regenerative systems that can create more and better opportunities for people, place, and planet. However, I'll first share some bigger picture context, which I hope are useful to consider when reflecting on our own next steps in relation to our institutions and partnerships. So, in the context of Europe, to which Britain remains strategically and geographically linked, regardless of Brexit, the European Green Deal, the EU Biodiversity Strategy for 2030, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO Strategy, Education for Sustainability, Sustainable Development for 2030. I need the slide, yep. Sorry, you want a new picture, don't you? There we go. Am I doing this wrong? The opposite way. That way. That way. Oh, okay, there we go. Indeed, in November 2022, at the Global Sustainable Development Congress, hosted by the Times Higher Education and delivered in partnership with the University of Glasgow, the former president of Ireland, Mary Robinson, stated, quote, "Prioritising climate justice is the best way for universities to be thought leaders on the Sustainable Development Goals. And it's also a way to create a narrative that unites higher education, governments, industry and society for a sustainable future," end quote. It's worth noting here, in the context where we are foregrounding the importance of the drive towards equal opportunities, that Mary Robinson is a former UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. She is chair of the Elders, which was founded by Nelson Mandela in 2007 as an independent group of global leaders working for peace, justice, human rights, and she's also a supporter of women's participation in peace building, enterprises of human dignity and climate justice. Mary Robinson's words effectively set the tone for the Congress, and beyond the words, participants were asked to engage in practical reflections that ask some very basic but fundamental questions of participating institutions, which I'm just going to give here. Partly of those that don't currently have a framework in place to chart their progress, and not just towards net zero, but towards embedding the ethos of sustainability and social justice, or what I prefer to refer to as regenerative development, into the curricula and the mindset of all of those who work within and with the institution. Essentially, if this work is to be taken seriously, it requires a rethinking of how and what we teach and research, and how we use the resources of people in place. This does not so much mean mandatory retraining of staff and students, but does require the institutions to provide mechanisms for discussion, a reconsideration of values and priorities, and ideally a collective reimagining of what life on campus, the surrounding area and community, as well as the globe, might look like. Taking into account the business as usual model of higher education will not suffice. While some parts of the UK have been making progress, the Global Sustainable Development Congress emphasised the need to move faster and provide opportunities for everyone to engage with transitional discourses and practice, not just those who choose to study specific courses and programs. So here are some of their recommendations. So, and I guess the first one is most relevant in the context of our partnerships. So to build and lead equitable and accountable partnerships. So asking, are the decision-making processes suitably rigorous when it comes to considerations of transparency, gender, racial equality, and social justice? Do our targets align with our core collective values? From what examples of existing good practice can we draw inspiration? Curricula should be diverse, interdisciplinary, and accessible to shape learning experiences toward the SDGs and sustainability. Curriculum design should focus on problem solving and action so that graduates have the skills to not only contribute but to speed up the transition in ways that include diverse perspectives of different groups within society, particularly those marginalized by the current economic and socio-political systems. So responsible leadership beyond the institution. So who are we collaborating with, and how are we influencing change through our location and internationally? How will we influence business, society, and policy and ensure that all parties involved get a fair share of the credit and benefits leveraged from this leadership? We want to create an environment within the institution that's an enabling and supports experiential and applied learning opportunities that challenge and influence existing culture. This might be providing time as well as money for colleagues to facilitate progress, meet with partners, and interested organizations, as well as we saw in the previous presentation, engage with communities within which our institutions are embedded. This might mean creating new posts within the institution that support project developments, and because the investment in posts can give a good indication of the degree of commitment of an institution, because otherwise staff can feel overburdened by the additional responsibilities around these sorts of things, even if they're very eager to support the sustainability agenda. And then finally, sustainability and regeneration needs to be considered central to the institution rather than a peripheral phenomenon or a box-ticking exercise. So all policies, structures, and systems of credit or recognition acknowledge that staff and students are doing and have a shared understanding of or framework for regenerative education. Some have suggested that having designated fellowships that support this activity is a further mechanism for creating an enabling culture within an institution. And in addition, and importantly, this approach needs to be considered as part of the bedrock of the institution, rather than something that is subject to the shifting winds brought about by the comings and goings of senior managers or fluctuating external conditions. We see in the UK, for instance, with the war in the Ukraine, there's been some pushback about moving towards some of the transitions that have been committed to. So there's all those sorts of things we need to highlight what's going to impact us most in the future. And within higher education in particular, the dominant siloed approach to disciplinary knowledge, which is the current existing paradigm, is resistant to change and may consider itself in competition for resources, whether that's money or time or facilities. But what last year's Congress noted is to some extent mirrored in the UK's quality assurance and advanced HE guidance for education, which I think I've got a slide for. Just there, yeah. Define education for sustainability is education about and for a sustainable future through the development of relevant skills, knowledge, and competencies. And again, we want to go sort of dig a bit deeper and find out what does that actually mean in practice. So what is suggested by the UK's Education for Sustainable Development strategy requires a more systems approach to the university as a crucial network of structures and connections that work across estates, management, education, research, again, as was mentioned in the previous presentations, as well as local, national, and international partnerships like the ones that exist between our institutions. The university, if you like, is a world and microcosm, an ecosystem made up of many interconnecting parts, all of which are interdependent. If we think of our educational institutions, our university in this light, then we can see the opportunity the system presents to connect the hand, the heart, and the head of each person within the system. The hand in this instance is the experiential learning gained through practical projects in laboratories or living labs, as they're known in the UK. The heart is an appeal to the underpinning values which allow us to consider and prioritizing well-being and social justice as realizable ambitions that frame decision-making. The head represents the already well-established role of the university as a seat of knowledge sharing and knowledge expansion through research, teaching, and public engagement. Through the hand steer the fundamental operational change in terms of our resources use and waste management, whether that is resources that make up the physical infrastructure of the institution, the resources associated with the supplying of water, energy, and food, or the resources that we might consider waste that might be regeneratively considered another resource that is yet to be effectively utilized, and therefore develop more comprehensive mechanisms to deconstruct and decompose that waste into resource materials needed to construct and compose once more. So now I'm going to move on to more specifics of Brunel. I will keep it quick. So an example of some educational provision that's specially designed to provide both the types of graduate outcomes outlined earlier, but also to assist in the generation of new ways of working with in the HE sector, which promotes sustainability and regeneration. For at heart, our university, like any university, is a community of scholars and practitioners. We educate, we research, we collaborate, we develop projects of one sort or another with the aim of increasing the body of knowledge and generating societal benefit in a just and inclusive manner. Conventionally, we've done much of this through our academics' affiliation to a clearly defined disciplinary area. Oh, whoops, sorry, stuck the head. Mystified, sorry. However, Fung notes that literature suggests that while specialist expertise remains vital, there is growing need to prepare students for cross-cutting forms of inquiry in a world where challenges are so complex and yet so profoundly interconnected, end quote. So, I think I've dumped a slide. Well, so basically I'm talking about this because this won a national award, this program. It's a Bachelor of Arts and Sciences in Global Challenges. The award comes from the Alliance for Leadership, Sustainability and Education in the UK. And so now Brunel will be representing the UK and Ireland in the international awards next year. So that's us collecting the award. So I'm missing a slide here, so I'll press on and just say, so this interdisciplinary degree has a range of different pathways associated with it. The first of this is a new field that emerged out of a concern to address the 2015 Lancet report commissioned by the Rockefeller Foundation, which made explicit, and quote, "We have mortgaged the health of future generations to realize economic and development gains in the present," end quote. So while human progress over the last 70 years has been considerable, this has come at great costs. And we know about the great loss of biodiversity, changing geochemical flows, widespread land use change, increased pollution, particularly of novel entities, with the overall depletion of natural resources. While this is a disaster for the environment, it's deleterious to human health, and the recent COVID pandemic provides a salutary example of what happens when habitat destruction and other anthropogenic activity brings people into ever closer proximity to wild species of animal and associated viruses. So students on the planetary health pathway have the opportunity to examine some of the issues with the aid of cross-cutting principles, which Brunel was part of the pioneering work that was done through the Planetary Health Alliance. So the whole of the institutions are working together to create this cross-cutting disciplinary framework. So we have another pathway in social cohesion. And again, the idea of social cohesion to some extent is inherently paradoxical. It considers human connectedness and human conflict. What are the enablers and disruptors of social cohesion at different scales? The individual, the community, the nation, and the globe. How does society and media shape and reflect social group identities and cohesion? So this pathway recognizes the complexities and tensions of this quasi-concept when thinking about global cooperation. Then we have a pathway in security. So whether it's war, genocide, disaster, whether it's the security of our families, our food, our data, or our borders, this pathway combines history, politics, criminology, and international relations to provide students with the technical and analytical skills to make sense of some of the drivers of conflict and how greater social justice and human rights can be ensured. And finally, global innovation, where students develop innovative and sustainable products within the global economy. And so it covers essential elements of production ranging from design, manufacturing, engineering, computer, psychology, and bridges the gap between individual customers and manufacturing. So this didn't happen overnight. The shape and focus of the provision emerged from extensive cross-college events, workshops, and discussions, in addition to an external consultation process with University College London, the University of Essex, and the University of Technology in Sydney. They all consulted or took part in key discussions in the development of this provision. We were able to use the freedoms that are afforded by the regulations of Brunel University to take apart some of the siloed approach traditionally associated with an undergraduate program. So this allows us to work with colleagues from right across the institution and draw upon their expertise in interesting ways. Because no single discipline is sufficient, and as we saw with Mrs. Al-Mutbati's talk, that the intersectional nature of the SDGs, having a single disciplinary lens is not going to afford you the opportunity to respond to the complexity of the challenges we face, whether that's inequality, poverty, migration, water security, food insecurity, environmental degradation. So I'm conscious of the time, so I'm going to move on. So I don't give all of this. So what do I mean by transdisciplinarity? So this is basically focusing much more on the problem, organizing provision thematically rather than from a single disciplinary lens. It allows students and staff to work with students in a way that allows them to place the challenge at the center and then work from that perspective. And a lot of it is about this experiential learning opportunity, the critical thinking skills, giving students opportunities to dialogue, and engage in productive and critical analysis of what's being presented. And as a result, just one example within the program, in the final year, all students get to work with an external industry partner on a challenge that they've posed. So if they've got a particular thing, they'll say, we want a group of students to work together to respond to this particular challenge. So for instance, the Steve Sennett Foundation, for instance, they are working in the Gambia and where there was no internet, and so students were able to work with the engineering department, the Gambia Teachers Union, and the school in order to develop and do the breakdown of how the whole thing was going to work, so that essentially that organization could use the work that students have produced to get the funding. So now that project exists now. I think I've got it on one of the slides. Here. Because the students undertook that research and in other words, you're generating societal benefit as students are studying as well. So utilizing and tapping into their enthusiasm. So we've worked with a whole lot of partners, both in the UK, but also in New Zealand and Somalia, in the Gambia. So again, giving students real-world opportunities to gain insights. I won't give any more examples of that. Of course, this all takes quite a lot of staff time and commitment, and it requires the ongoing support of key staff from across the institution, for which we're very grateful. So what I'm going to do now is just cut to, because I feel like I've overrun. So yeah, so another group's looking at knife crime. So this was just an example of what we build towards within the framework of the structure of the program itself, all the time aligned with the SDGs as students work through. But I'm going to just show you a little video that gives if I can get to the last slide. Oh yeah. Yeah, sorry, you don't need to hear me at the beginning, so that's fine. But if you get the sound up in a minute. Are you able to put the sound up? So this is just a sort of summary overview of the program. Otherwise, don't worry. Well, the next steps in terms of Brunel, so I co-chair a West London FEHE external
provision focused on the world's complex and seemingly intractable problems. The result was Brunel's Bachelor of Arts and Sciences in Global Challenges degree program.
Global Challenges is the blueprint for a transformative education. Students are inspired to use their transdisciplinary knowledge and passion to make a difference to the world we live in. They will be the leaders of a connected, socially just and sustainable future.
Our transdisciplinary emphasis on trialing and applying what is learned in practical settings has allowed us to develop ongoing knowledge exchange partnerships with students and staff from the University of Zambia and the Copperbelt University.
Hi! This is the Copperbelt University SK chapter. The benefits:
knowledge exchange,
research,
funding, and collaboration.
Thank you.
Student engagement have led to development and adoption of livelihood initiatives within the resettlement scheme, where community members have had an opportunity to embrace the new innovative approaches that have been really idealized by the students from Brunel University through the Global Challenges program.
I am incredibly proud to be the external examiner of this program, and I often cite elements of this program in my own work, both nationally and internationally. I've never had the pleasure of being an external examiner on such a well-designed and conducted programme, and the assessments are a really key part of that.
What is truly unique and special about our Global Challenges programme is the way it allows students to engage in transdisciplinary activities across the research education divide that yield real benefits for our partners.
The design of the BASE Global Challenges degree is cultivating a community of innovators and changemakers. The continued commitment to learning both within and outside the lecture room and dedication to embedding sustainable development in a holistic manner has resulted in change happening now. This is truly a global enterprise to address the challenges of today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Mary. Our fourth keynote speaker for today is Dr. Haneen Mohammed Shaib, the Dean of the College of Business Administration in the University of Business and Technology, KSA, with a speech titled Women Leadership in Education, a Saudi Arabian Sustainable Perspective. Dr. Haneen, please take the floor.
سعادة رئيس مجلس الأمناء للجامعة الأهلية الدكتور عبد الله الحواج، سعادة رئيس مجلس الأمناء لجامعة الأعمال والتكنولوجيا الدكتور عبد الله بن صادق دحلان، سعادة رؤساء مجالس الأمناء، رؤساء الجامعات، زملائي وزميلاتي، distinguished guests, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I'm really honored to be with you here, not only myself, but also our online viewers. We have hundreds of our students from UBT following us on the online stream. So thank you so much for making that happen for us. Thank you. We're so proud of this organization. We have been here last year, and we see the developments, and we see how you're going forth, mashallah, on a lot of KPIs in research, PhD students, faculty members. We see that and we learn together. We're so happy this trio of Al-Bahraini, Al-Ahliya University in Bahrain, UBT, and Brunel University coming together as a global model for other universities to follow. And today, with Al-Zarqa University, we complete the pack. So thank you so much for that. I'm Dr. Haneen Shuaib, the Dean of the Business School in UBT in Jeddah. And today, I'm going to take you from a macro perspective of sustainability into a micro perspective, looking at Saudi Arabia. I'm sure a lot of you know about Saudi Arabia and the transformation we have been through in the past years. It's not a local story anymore. And today, as a scholar of organizational behavior and strategy, I wanted to start the story of women leadership from the position of influencing policy making in Saudi Arabia. Our story have many beginnings for women leadership, but influencing policy making through a Shura Council, Majlis al-Shura, the equivalent of the parliament in international terms. For the first time, women were part of that Shura Council was in 2011, in the time of our pioneering king, King Abdullah Al Saud. After that, in 2013, a quota has been established, 20%. It shouldn't go less than 20% of women participation. We have 150 members in our Shura Council. 30 of them are women. I have been honored to be part of the Shura Council last week on a visit with UBT leaders, with Dr. Ru'a here. We have been there with our students, attending one of the sessions, seeing how our men and women in Saudi Arabia are influencing policy and making the changes that we want to see in our country through our great vision of 2030 that matches and in alignment of the SDGs, as we will all see. The vision looks at three main pillars: a vibrant society, a thriving economy, and an ambitious nation. And I assure you, you talk to any Saudi and you feel that ambition. Noting that equal opportunities does not mean equal outcomes. This is why we need to foster the skills and develop it. We need to invest in the passions of women, their energies. They are half of the society, but we need to make them ready. Because the opportunity is there, but the outcome will be different. We need to be ready. An interesting fact, our Vision 2030 put a KPI for the engagement of participation of women in the job market, and it was from 22% to be 30% in 2030. Guess what happened in 2022? First quarter, it reached 33.6, and we're really proud. We're really proud of our women who achieved that in such a short time. What will happen in 2030? I hope I can stand here again and share the statistics of the future. Inshallah. Because change doesn't happen on its own, it needs an infrastructure, an ecosystem that will make it happen. This is why we need legislations, policies, regulations. These are the things that took place. This is what makes our change sustainable. It's not an initiative to go. It's there to stay. So we had a lot of reform in relation to freedom of travel, provision of safety, right to live alone for women, anti-harassment laws, right to drive, equality in the workplace. And equality in the workplace, it's equality in opportunity and also in pay. And I know that it's still an international issue, but we're really glad that our policies are with us to help us. After having a legal system that helps, we need to train the people and foster their skills. And that's why our Ministry of Education started programs of training nationally and internationally to support our women. And education and training is the first step forward. We all can agree on that, being in a university and knowing the importance of education. You know what that happened? That made women in middle management in Saudi Arabia to rise from 28.6% in 2017 to 40% in 2022 first quarter. Also, a second outstanding statistic for Saudi Arabia and for women. A case in point, the University of Business and Technology. These are our UBT female leaders. In 2010, I was doing my PhD research on the University of Business and Technology. I was doing an interview, I was doing an ethnographic study and doing an interview with Dr. Abdallah Dahlan. I asked a question at that time, do you think that we will ever have a female president? He unreluctantly said, yes, when the time is right, when they're ready. And since that time, when we only had 2 female leaders, today in 2023, we have 28 leaders holding positions from vice presidents to assistant vice presidents to deans, vice deans, heads of departments, supervisors, heads of centers. We're really happy to have Dr. Ru'a bin Siddiq with us here, Dean of the Scientific Research that enabled this delegation to participate today. With more than 28 research papers, 50% of them are females. We're so happy and honored by that. Our PhD candidates are 70%, 23 out of 32 of our PhD candidates as females, because we do believe that we need role models for our female students to aspire to. I do remember when Professor Mary was standing, she reminded me of my own professor. When I was at Exeter University, Professor Emma Bell, if you know her, once she told me at the end of my PhD journey, I got a job from my university to stay in the UK, and I wanted to stay. She told me, go back home. The young females at your country need you more than we need you here. And truly, this word never left my heart. We need more role models. I'll take you to a more personal example. In 2017, something remarkable happened in Saudi Arabia. Some of you who know the country knows that our universities have 2 campuses, one for males and one for females. Guess what? We never had a female dean before overseeing a male college. In 2017, it took place in the public university, Taif University, in a conservative city. Just a few months after, Dr. Abdallah Dahlan took a very courageous, first of its kind decision in the private sector in UBT to have the first dean of a female and male campus for the College of Advertising, and I was honored that it was me. Thank you, Dr. Abdallah Dahlan, for giving the opportunity for those who work and those who aspire to prove themselves. It's not an easy thing, but guess what? That pioneering decision influenced the whole country. Now, wherever you go in Saudi Arabia, public or private, you will find that there are female deans and male deans as well, depending on merit, experience, and credentials. This wouldn't have ever happened for Saudi Arabia if it wasn't for the transformational leadership of our king, King Salman Al Saud, and his crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman, the visionary who inspired the whole nation, who inspired the world to see Saudi Arabia in a different way. Women empowerment happens because this inspiration of a whole nation empowers us. Men like Dr. Abdallah Dahlan, my father, my husband, the whole community, they are the ones who empower us as women to be all what we can be. I'm really proud to be a woman in Saudi Arabia in this time and age. And if you've never been to Saudi Arabia, this is an invitation to come. Actually, the visa only takes 1 minute, literally 60 seconds. Welcome all to Saudi Arabia. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Haneen. You made us all a bit emotional. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to take a coffee break for 10 minutes, and we will resume our sessions afterwards. Thank you so much. Shall we start? راح يكون في MOU signing. Welcome back. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite Professor Abdullah Al-Hawaj, the founding president of Ahliya University and the chairman of the board of trustees, and Professor Abdullah Dahlan, the chairman of the board of trustees of the University of Business and Technology, Professor Mansour Al-Ali, the president of Ahliya University, and Professor Osama Al-Janadi. But on behalf of him, we have Dr. Ru'a bin Siddiq, the Dean of Research. And then we have Professor Nidar Al-Ramahi. And we have Professor Mahmoud Abu Shaira. Please come on the stage. تفضل. ترى ما اعطوني الاسماء، ها لا تزفوني، ما اعطوني الاسماء.
لا اوكي.
اعتقد ثلاثة قاعدين وثلاثة واقفين.
اي انا والدكتور انا بقعد. السلام عليكم جميعا. الشغل هذا؟
اي.
السلام عليكم جميعا. As you can see, we are going to sign an MOU, but I want to describe that. We already have an MOU with UBT in Jeddah, and it's approved by HEC. But since then also we have expanded, and we're going to expand even further. And we are really happy and proud today that we have our friends from Az-Zarqa University. So we're going to sign an MOU with them. Of course, this MOU, once we sign it, it has to go through the process of HEC approval, etc. So thank you and best of luck to us all. Thank you.
We would like to take a group photo now, so can please, the keynote speakers, can you please approach? One more photo, please. لا لا الدكتور they already joined. Yeah خلاص. اي دكتور حوسب ذي وين خطر.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. في البداية أتقدم بجزيل الشكر والتقدير الحقيقة إلى جامعة الأعمال والتكنولوجيا، وعلى رأسها طبعا أخينا وصديقنا الدكتور عبد الله الدحلان، وإلى أيضا جامعة زرقاء وعلى رأسها الدكتور محمد محمود، ورئيس الجامعة أيضا، وكل الضيوف. ونتقدم أيضا بالشكر والتقدير إلى زملائنا وأور بارتنرز من برونيل يونيفرسيتي، دكتور ستيف مالين ودكتورة ماري. ويعني في أمور تحدث في اللحظات الأخيرة، فإحنا قررنا الحقيقة إنه نزيد التعاون بين الجامعات، ولذلك سامحونا إذا كان هناك نوع من التأخير، بس الهدف واحد. وأنا قبل يعني لحظات واحدة من الإعلاميات تسألني شو هدف هذا المؤتمر وليش الجامعة الأهلية مهتمة بهذا المؤتمر، وكان دائما سؤالي أن الجامعة الأهلية منذ أن أنشئت قبل 21 سنة وهدفها التغيير الفعلي في نمط التعليم، في نمط العلاقات. ولذلك رسالة مني، وأنا متأكد إخواني في جامعة الزرقاء وفي جامعة اليو بي تي وفي جامعة برونيل كلهم يوافقوننا، أنه أكثر تفاعل في الفصل وخارج الجامعة وفي الجامعة. هذه هي الرسالة، الانتراكتيف في التعليم التفاعلي. ولذلك نبي نتفاعل أيضا مع المؤسسات الأخرى والجامعات الأخرى. ولذلك كان اليوم سعيد جدا أنه كان في رؤساء 4 أو 5 جامعات موجودين معانا في الافتتاح، ومالكي 4 جامعات كانوا موجودين، وهذا الشيء عظيم جدا الحقيقة، يخلينا نشعر بأنه الجميع يعمل من أجل المصلحة. أنا عادة متحدث جيد يعني، ويتراولي أنا وايد زين، أي لكن اليوم الدكتورة حنين ضربتني. أي فأنا أشكرها شكر كثير، كان تقديم جميل جدا، ودعاية للشقيقة السعودية كبير جدا. وهذه حقيقة. احنا كنا قبل 5 أيام في زيارة إلى الحسا، مجموعة من الشخصيات البحرينية، شيوخ ورجال أعمال وأساتذة ورؤساء جامعات، كنا في الزيارة. المملكة العربية السعودية تمر بحقيقة مشروع تقدم حضاري كبير جدا، لأني زرت الحسا أكثر من مرة وشفت التقدم السريع الموجود. وأحد الأصدقاء اللي معاي قال لي هذا شنو؟ هاي ما رحت الرياض. طبعا ما أدري ايش بيقولون اليو بي تي عن جدة أيضا. اي نعم. واحنا رحنا طبعا جدة في السابق، وكانت لنا جولة في السوق، وما قصر الدكتور خالد مع الدكتورة حنين رونا وين جدتنا نزلت. ويقولون ان جدة سمي على الجدة، يعني اللي هي أمنا حواء كلنا. فأنا أنتهز هالمناسبة الحقيقة، اسمحوا لنا إذا كان هناك أي قصور أو تقصير أو أي شيء، بس أؤكد لكم أن كلنا نعمل من أجل equal opportunities لنا كلنا. واليوم اللي بنوقف فيه لما نشوف المرأة في كل الوطن العربي قد وصلت إلى المرحلة اللي تكلمت فيها الدكتورة ماري. يعني I was so pleased to hear some of the expressions about when we will see إنه المرأة وصلت إلى ما نريده. وكأنه حنين أيضا تكلمت عن نفس الموضوع. فألف شكر وألف تقدير، وسامحونا على القصور، وكلكم بعد الجلسات القادمة إن شاء الله معزومين على وجبة الغداء. ألف شكر وألف تقدير.
Thank you, Professor Abdallah. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we will start with our first session for today, titled Sustainable Business and Leadership Session, chaired by Dr. Mohammed Al-Kashami. And our first presentation is titled Corporate Governance in the Digital Era by Mari Yaqub, Reem Khalid, and Dr. Zakiya Sanad. Welcome. I just want to inform the audience that there are parallel sessions currently being conducted in Al Fayruz Hall and Al Zumarrad Hall in the first floor. Thank you.
I guess. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mari Yaqub, and first, I would like to thank everyone who made this conference possible. And me and Al-Reem will be presenting on our topic named Corporate Governance in the Digital Era. So first, we'll look at the two components that are involved in the topic. Corporate governance is the rules, procedures, policies that a company implements and follows to achieve its goals. And digitalization, as we know, that has influenced all areas of our life. And it's using technology like Internet of Things, blockchain, artificial intelligence to achieve the most out of whatever we're desiring. So digital corporate governance is using technology for corporate governance practices. So our study aimed to first investigate that what are the factors involved and risks involved in this topic, and secondly to look at if the advantages of the topic outweigh the disadvantages. So these are this is a summary of what we gather from literature, that these are the potential and current benefits and drawbacks. So things like quick reports, creation by a simple example is Excel. We can simply gain graphs from it, putting years of data, and it will give us a quick look, which is linked with the second point, decision making. So data is there to for us to see and easily analyze. Increased transparency. For stakeholders can see the data. They can see the reports that are available on the websites that the companies are required to share with their stakeholders. Gaining competitive advantage using technology, utilizing cloud technology for safely keeping data, and potentially it can lead to ultimately virtualizing workspaces. Some drawbacks are that not everyone in the workforce is always equipped to use these softwares that are being introduced. Secondly, increased costs due to hiring more people, training staff, always updating and maintaining softwares and devices. And the other point is cybercrime, that since data sensitive information is present on our desktops and laptops, so it can be hacked by confidential information can be leaked, and problems with regulators. Since more technology is being used more laws are being made, so it can put companies in a difficult position. Now I'll like Alreem to cover the factors that lead to these benefits and drawbacks.
So, in regard to the roles and responsibility of board members, our studies have found that sticking to the old and traditional ways of corporate governance adds little value in this digital age. Also, we have found that how a organization's board reacts to the current digital wave actually dictates its future lasting and competitive power. So I'm going to go and discuss some of the technologies that we have studied. So first we have blockchain technology. Blockchain technology is essentially an advanced database mechanism, and using it with corporate governance, we streamline and automate the processes of corporate governance in a digital way. So of course we can use blockchain in corporate governing process by tracking and managing stakeholder votes, and also by also tracking corporate filings, as well as blockchain does have the potential to become a solution for several board member conflicts, including the general lack of transparency that might happen in the voting system, and also the problem of empty voting. The second technology that I want to discuss is artificial intelligence. So AI, so compared to the resources that a human specialist needs to analyze a amount of information, AI skills enable us to analyze massive data arrays twice as faster and in more efficient ways. For the risks, we have two main risks that we have with combining digitalization with corporate governance. The first one being privacy and data management, and the second one being, of course, cyber risk, which is not only a massive IT problem, it also culminates into several repercussions for corporate governance. So for the conclusion, we have concluded that the beneficial aspects of digital corporate governance, like AI and decision-making software and blockchain, far outweigh the risks associated with these technologies. We have also found that continuing to utilize these traditional and old methods of corporate governance that we're more used to does not hold up well in the digital age, and also, we also have found that although digital corporate governance is very vital and important, it is underfunded and in need of more research. Thank you.
Thank you, Reem. Now for the recommendations, we would recommend policymakers to hire IT directors and a IT team so they can make the most out of their softwares and utilize the softwares that are relevant and the best for the company. Secondly, policymakers should shift their focus to investing in research and development to detect any potential risks in the future, and to always stay in touch with the ongoing technology and trends. Lastly, training staff is important to make the most out of the technology that has been invested in. For the recommendations, first recommendation is to have studies like this on digital corporate governance in general, because we found that there were research gaps. So more studies will help us have a clearer idea on this topic. Secondly, a method suggestion, SWOT analysis. We came across a paper that had this method applied, and as researchers, we found that it was really beneficial for us to have an insight on the topic. Third is investigating the relationship between digital corporate governance and cybersecurity. As we mentioned earlier, that cyber risk is one of the most important factors. So learning about cybersecurity and how it plays a role with digital corporate governance will be interesting. And lastly, research required in GCCA. There were limited papers in the GCCA and especially in Bahrain. Majority of the research conducted was in Europe and Asia, excluding GCC. So we'll like more papers to be done in the GCC. That is all for us. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Mari Yaqub and Ms. Arreem Khaled. Our second presentation in this session is titled The Obvious Foreseen Effects of Machine Replacing Humans in Society by George Samor and Leila Malas.
ليلى منص. No problem. Yes, no problem.
I would like to call Mr. Dawood Al-Hamdani and Ms. Noor Al-Qatawne, please, to come on the stage. Thank you. Now we will continue with the second session.
نور وانا نو مشكله بس انا بعدين راح اسوي تدشين لكم وبعدين تعرضون عندك برزنتيشن مالك جاهز اوكي جاهز المفروض انا بس خلي يجي مايك بعد لا انا الحين انا التشير سيشن اوكي وسوي شوي انترودكشن وبعدين برزنتيشن 2 عن ذا اوبفيوس فورسين صح؟ اوكي اسمه شنو؟ اسمه شنو؟ اوكي برزنتيشن 2 الاولين المفترض انا اسوي تدشين بس هم كانوا يدرون سيده دخلوا يعني على الخط نبدا صار الخطا لانه الدكتوره نور قطعت تبدا بالاول عشان عندها مستعجل اوكي وبعدين الدكتوره ليلى نور قبلها اوكي نقرا اللي هو انت كيف الحال؟ طيب الله يسلمك راحة انزين نور انتين بتكونين شنو قلنا؟ adoption business intelligence
انا عشان عجبت شوي عشان
هذا رقم 3 عليكم السلام ورحمة الله اوكي انتليجنس اخر واحد
انا
معي.
خربطتكم شوي لانه اولادي معي فمو مضطره يعني اعمل برزنتيشن.
والله بعد انا اولادي لازم اروح في المدرسه الاهليه.
مع ابوهم فوق فالوضع مأساوي.
يلا مو مشكله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. Good afternoon ladies and gentlemen and welcome to day first of the Conference of Equal Opportunities, Sustainable Leadership and Technology Innovation Management 2022-2023. I am Dr. Mohammed Al-Kashami, Bahraini academic researcher working at Arab Open University, Kingdom of Bahrain. I'm delighted to chairing this session at this prestigious conference, and I would like to thank all teams here for inviting me to chairing this part. First, we are starting with presentation 1. Presentation should be 4 here. Okay. Presentation 1, business intelligence adoption model during the digital transformation era, an empirical investigation on the Jordanian insurance company. Just a brief about the study. Some organizations have increasingly adopted decision support and business intelligence systems, but understanding the nature of the influence factors and such adoption decisions remains a topic of significant academic interest. The article seeks to investigate the critical factors that influence on adopting business intelligence in the insurance industry. In this context, the study proposed and investigated a conceptual model that demonstrates the impact of various technological, organizational, and environmental factors and companies' options. Floor is yours, Dr. Noor. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Al Ahliya University for allowing us to participate in this scientific meeting. Also, of course, it's a very wonderful opportunity to visit Bahrain. First, I want to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Noor Qatawneh, Assistant Professor from Waqta University, Jordan, and I'm also one of the alumni of Brunel University, London. My research title is Business Intelligence Adoption Model During the Digital Transformation Era, an empirical investigation in the Jordanian insurance company. Business intelligence is considered, may I have, I can slide? Yes, this button. Okay. Business intelligence is considered a potential tool for business decision making, and both academics and industry experts are becoming increasingly interested in this technology. Business intelligence also permits business to make smart business decisions. It also focused on facilitating the access of interactive data processing, and enabling analysts and company directors for doing suitable analysis. Actually, the development and implementation of business intelligence has facilitated the conversion of information techniques to optimize corporate decision and operation. Business intelligence system nowadays can help organizations overcome information asymmetry, which is one of the greatest issues they face due to the lack of information management tool and methods. However, business intelligence is required to establish a strong business identity and implement a successful technological plan. Therefore, this enhances firm decision and gives it a significant advantage in the changing marketplace. Nowadays, insurance and banking institutions use business intelligence system because they have a wealth of financial and operational data. BIS, or we can say Business Information and Analytics, plays a larger role in insurance company by empowering experts and directors to conduct more informed, accurate, and relevant decisions that will increase the company's profit and the productivity and assist in meeting many environmental regulatory requirements. Business intelligence may have been understudied. The literature doesn't adequately support the inconsistent finding and other factors that affect business intelligence, particularly in developing nations such as Jordan. Despite this, the insurance sector continues to rely significantly on BI and analytics, particularly because of the accessibility of several consumer datasets that can aid in decision making. So in an effort to support the insurance company in Jordan for more successful adoption of business intelligence, this study aimed to investigate the influential factor of the adoption of business intelligence. The study suggests a conceptual framework that demonstrates the influence of numerous technological, organizational, and environmental factors on the adoption of BI and decision-making performance of company. So we can see the model. This model is based in TOE, technological, organizational, environmental factors. So we have different factors. The study uses TOE theory to better understand how Jordanian insurance sector user may adapt business intelligence technology. TOE framework is important innovation adoption theory. Technological, organizational, environmental that may affect business adoption by user will be addressed in this study. As we see in figure 1, it shows a research model about business intelligence adoption based in TOE theory and related literature. The model includes technology factors such as complexity, compatibility, relative advantage, as well as organizational factors such as organization readiness, top management support, environmental factors such as industry competition regulatory body. These crucial factors may influence the adoption of business intelligence system and the decision-making performance in the insurance company in Jordan. About data collection, after a thorough examination of the literature, an online survey will be used to accomplish the study aim of determining how employees in Jordan insurance industry are using business intelligence. Employees who have worked with business intelligence are chosen for this study, such as audit managers, financial managers, head of internal control department, head of accounting department, IT department managers, and IS-related staff. In the end, discussion and conclusion, in the developing countries, business intelligence applications are in their early stage compared to their widespread use in developed countries. This study aims to investigate the adoption model in Jordan insurance sector. Several variables were added to TOE frameworks, and as we see, this topic is very important nowadays, so a lot of organizations and countries nowadays focus on business intelligence adoption rather than any technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Noor. Let's move to Ms. Leila Meles. Okay. On obvious foreseen effects of machines replacing human and society. Let's have a brief about her paper. Currently, the world technology is advancing rapidly, leading to an increasing in automation and machine-based labor. This has led to a debate over the potential effects of machines replacing humans in society. And this study, the presenter will explore the obvious foreseen effects of machines replacing human in society and argue that a balance must be achieved between humans and machines. Miss, please go ahead. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Leila Malas. I'm currently adjunct lecturer at Princess Sumaya University for Technology in Amman, Jordan, specialized in business analytics field. Today, I would like to present our research paper with Dr. George Samour, the Dean of King Talal School of Business and Technology, entitled The Obvious Foreseen Effects of Machines Replacing Humans in Society. During this presentation, I will discuss the research paper problem that's facing humanity, moving forward to research paper significance and added value. After that, a real-life methodology will be discussed to ensure balance between humans and machine under what we call hybrid intelligence until reached to conclusion and recommendation. These days, creativity, imagination, and innovation are considered essential factors for human success. In the past, people relied on ancient handicrafts such as sewing to increase productivity and profits. From scientific point of view, human beings used to seek advice or scientific knowledge or the ability to persuade to increase human capabilities. All these factors are more presented until the Industrial Revolution, which led to the emergence of automation in the field of business that shows how to increase productivity, technology, sustainability, and profits. Let's move forward to the temporal development during Industrial Revolution. In 1837, Charles Babbage produced an analytical engine, which became a circulating device that got the name computer. In 1939, Carl Capek coined a robot called Electro, which exhibited at the World's Fair. It represents a key point in the history of automation. It acted resembling humans. In 1950, artificial intelligence emerged by Alan Turing in the Second World War. He devised a method to quantify the measures of intelligence of machines based on the ability of machines to think and comprehend. So artificial intelligence involves devices to learn using learning programs and algorithms that allow devices to function under what we call machine learning. So if we apply it to any device such as a car, it will become intelligent in its functioning without a driver, such as Tesla. This figure also shows the automation development from the first industrial revolution until now. In the first industrial revolution, the focus was on mechanization. In second industrial revolution, the focus was on mass production. In third industrial revolution, the focus was on computer and information technology. And the fourth industrial revolution until now, the focus on artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, cloud computing, and blockchain technology. Therefore, the problem of the research is that machines replace humans, which is a potential issue that faces humanity. Emergence of artificial intelligence, robots, Internet of Things cause disruption in the workplace and how to generate income, especially with the emergence of drones and ChatGPT that led to the replacement of human factors without to perform its basic functions. Also, machines lack the capability to understand the intelligence of emotions and feeling for specific patient who need affection by 50%, so machines cannot achieve. So the importance of this investigation is to accomplish harmony between humans and machine without degrading human factors, using machines as a tool to accomplish business work and let the users and help business owner and decision maker to take the right decision. This is show that the person with his thoughts and conclusion mixed with inventions all put the person in a vicious circle. When the person will start inventing machines to be replaced, this will lead the human beings to reach a point for machines to think by themselves and with the inventor and surpass them and become genius. So these devices cannot have the ability to understand the emotions and feeling of machines. So there is a considerable percentage of workforce to be replaced with machines, leaving us with two bands. The lower band focus on lower production and less of intelligence, which will always be available for workers to occupy, with lower cost than inventing machines to replace them. On the other hand, the upper band focus on human minds and high intelligence of high caliber personnel, such as doctors and lawyers, that machines cannot achieve, and humans characterized by human minds and touch. After knowing the added value of the research, it is necessary to know or understand how machines methodology that the research paper perform in order to take the right decision. Suppose that Acme company seek to solve a marketing strategy problem that comforts them. Therefore, manager resort to a brainstorming session that will help members to take right decision using a brainstorming method. But before the session is held, each member must collect and analyze data as a proof of concept and guide to take the appropriate decision. The role of machines is so here comes the role of machines to extract data and find out patterns in order to take the right decision. Using knowledge discovery method, which is a data mining life cycle, it is responsible for extracting data, collect patterns, and figure out the relationships that need for the human to understand in order to take decision, beginning with the data selection, pre-processing, transformation, data mining, and interpretation. The first step of the knowledge discovery process is to understand the aim of the application and the goal of the knowledge discovery process. This paper analyzed Bellabit 5-bit fitness tracker data, which is a fashionable tracking device that helps women to keep track of their daily physical activity, sleep, and stress level. So the goal of this case is to analyze how consumers use the application in a way to give a top level of recommendation for marketing strategy. The second step is data selection, which aim to target the data that we need to work with. 5-bit fitness tracker data consists of 16 CSV files collected from March 2016 until May 2016. This paper used daily physical activity data set. Of course, each data set has limitation. One of them is that data collected from 2016 patterns patterns may be changed after a certain period of time based on the user behavior. This data set is chosen based on the evaluation criteria that measure the quality of the data, which stand for ROCC matrix, which stands for reliable, original, comprehensive, current, and cited data. The third step is data pre-processing, which is an important step in data cleaning. It involves detecting inconsistencies, outliers, and filling missing values using Python programming language libraries such as NumPy for numerical operations, Pandas for data structure, and Matplotlib for data visualization. After that, the data transformation is applied, which is an integral part of the knowledge discovery process by selecting the important feature and removing and changing data types. After that, the data mining step is applied by extracting patterns and interesting data using techniques and algorithms such as K-means, technology, decision tree, random forest, neural networks, and statistical analysis, and much more. After all operations are completed, the results are visualized by a dashboard, which is a tool that helps managers to take the right decision. Each graph indicates as a key performance indicator for the presenter as a tool to take the right decision, such as number of times logged in the application, and the calories burned every hour logged, calories burned every step take, and percentage of activity in minutes. This methodology concludes a top level of recommendation for marketing strategy. This result shows that the majority of users, 81.3% of users, tracking their sedentary activity, not for monitoring health habits. Also, the data noticed that the people tend to monitor their activities more on weekdays than on weekends. So here the company have to promote notifications in order to encourage users to exercise. This methodology and this result, sorry. The next slide. The next slide. Oh, yes, okay. After that, the following question is asked: who made the decision? The answer is a human, by extracting data free of errors in order to help members to understand what happened and take the right decision. And this methodology caused balance between humans and machine under what we call hybrid intelligence. Hybrid intelligence is essential to maximize the potential of human and artificial intelligence, each of which excels in a way that completely fails the other. One of prime examples is the crowdsourcing application, in which human intelligence used the data in order to help members to take decision. Meanwhile, the artificial intelligence system can provide assistance when the device are not confident or the user unavailable or users to do so. After all these results are mentioned, the paper recommends at the end to keep the human in the loop, because only the human who have the ability to create, invent, and solving problem and communicate with others in a way that can members understand it. And that's what the paper covered. Thank you very much, and I'm ready for your questions. Thank you.
MashaAllah, Layla. Thank you so much. Brilliant. يعطيك العافية. Excellent. Have a sit here. And now, let's move to the next speaker, which is the fourth. I believe Dr. Al-Hamadani will enrich us, inshallah, with his talk about an exploratory study on e-commerce in the Sultanate of Oman, trends, perspective, and challenges. So a brief about his paper. The Sultanate of Oman has the potential to become a major player in e-commerce due to its strategic location and increasing internet penetration. When compared to other GCC countries, the low internet penetration of only 22 limits e-commerce opportunities. However, as the number of internet users grows, it will open up new opportunities for Omanis and make it easier for them to be introduced to new services. The exploratory use a cross-sectional descriptive survey designed to investigate Omani customers' practices and attitudes toward e-commerce development in the Sultanate of Oman. And now, the floor is yours, Doctor. Go ahead.
Thank you, Doctor. I think I would say good evening to everyone. It's almost 1:30. I'm not a good speaker. I don't have what's called linguistic intelligence. Very poor in my linguistic talks. But I am special ones who wants to move around and talk and do things by his hands. Anyway, as the title indicates or depicts, that we are in Sultanate of Oman, one of the Gulf countries. We are in a process of establishing new visions. I've already started the new visions, which is called Oman 2040. And we really want to look at what's called the bottom-up feedback, the bottom-up attitude to what you're going to do in the futures of these visions. We can't go ahead to really introduce technology like IoT or artificial intelligence or other technologies without looking the enablers to do so. So one of the enablers for us to do so is the internet. If it's poor, doesn't exist, then we're going to fail. So I'm just going to flick through these slides to reach to the conclusion what are the really were found in that in this study. That's our vision. To be really, we should look at the diversity of economy in the sultanates. Hold on, how to point this out? I'm a technology man, but I don't know how we point this.
Right and left.
No, just I mean the pointers. No pointers? I need then long sticks to point to this. Anyway, so. Okay, then the third line, you see that we are really going to have, we want to really diverse our economy, and this is our vision Oman 2040. You could see that there's a lot of things here involved, and most of these, what's involved here, it requires the use of technology. We really, in the vision, enable economy of diversity sectors, enable for smart cities. Also, you can't have smart cities without really having internet. I think, as I said, the most or the best or the important enablers. Also, we are looking for innovative in economy and so forth. And this is the goals of the, and this is what the doctor said in our, that really we are not, in Oman, the internet is not that really strong, but still we can't have a decision without taking a second opinions, which is from the residents of Oman and those who are using the internet. It's not. Do you have keyboard, wireless keyboard? Simply. Okay, so that's the aim of the first question that we ask, what is the status of using e-commerce or using internet, doing some business? And the second step is what's called the question, the participants' perceptions and attitudes toward the practice of the economies in the Sultanate of Oman. And the last question is what's called the challenges, the thing that is hindering the introduction of e-commerce in the Sultanate of Oman. The final question is to do with the non-inferential statistics. I don't know, I think the study has a lot of statistics, so inferential statistics question means that we're going to see the effect of place of residence, age, gender, which is one of the main issues today in the morning, incomes and occupations. So as you see, this is the Sultanate of Oman. These are the governorates, muhafadat fi Oman. These 11 governorates, you could see some of them in the middle of the deserts. The Wusta is there. Maybe they have very limited access to the internet. Other one, the Masandans there also, it's far from the country, from the capital. Muscat is there. So you could see, from that, it's a good background to tell you about Oman, how that will affect the decision maker in the future. The study is online. It was during the pandemics of Corona. Took place. 133 individuals, their participants, and 129 questions returned to us, and the other disappeared. And you could see these resembles of the samples from each government, and you could see that from Wusta there's nothing, zero, nobody participated in the study. Male, that's distribution, 60% male and 38 female. Age also there. So just going through this quickly because of the time, and this is the income. Phones, what they use when they do the e-commerce activities or practice. Mobile phones, you can see that the mobile phones, they are taking the highest scores there, 42% maybe a decision for everyone now, just to work on the mobiles, develop applications that we could, do business with online businesses. The question is, what's the practice? Well, a good practice, you could see that out of 130 participants, good practice, they're using the business to customer, customer to customer, government to customer. So it's there. So we're practicing the Omanis or the residents in Oman, whether they are Omani or non-Omani, they are really practicing the use of the e-commerce, so business online. And these are the major things: buying and selling, e-banking services, and so forth. So you can see that from this, I just pick up the 70% of buying and selling, which is good. I mean, if you're going to do online business, then that's the most important, services. So you could provide or you could use. The e-bankings, it's very common, and so forth. The most what's practices in using the e-businesses is the mails. So they sell food, they buy foods. Okay, that's the more. Furniture that come the next, and also the electronics. So really, maybe they don't trust using the internet buying electronics items, but they trust the internet or the e-commerce or the e-businesses buying food. That's how they use it, how much they use it in every month, and clear what they use, as I said. Okay, method of the second question is, what are the perceptions, what are the attitudes of those participants toward e-commerce? We can see that really they have a good attitude. You could see the mean, the modem, and those means and standard deviations. Internet is the most important things they use, the portals. Why? Internet speed is the most problem. So you can see the attitudes, really, they are not, they're finding it very difficult because of the internet speed. The importance of the e-commerce, you could see there's some items, but you could see the overall, really 4 out of 5 means they are supporting. They're willing to do, either they run the business or they use the business. Variety of products, you could see percentage here, and so forth. Attitude toward securities, really they have issues of trust. You can see it's 3.67, the mean, and these are the items that really they're concerned about. You could see that paper spending is the most they're worried about. Now let's go quickly to the what's called attitude, the barriers. Law, that's what preventing them from using much of the what's online, because they can't, because of the low speed of the internet in Oman, especially in regions like Wusta, which is in the middle of the desert. Really, they have limited access to the internet. So we could see that what's the significance of practicing business. We could see no influence of place of residence, no influence of age, no influence of gender. But however, the income, the occupational status, they have influence over the practice. Three main areas we divided the services. One is to what's called services provided by the government agencies, importance of e-commerce customers, and e-security, trade, and law and so we could see the significance in the services provided by the government, and where we could see we look at in deep that the difference between those who have income with 150 riyals and less than 500, and those who have income of 500 riyal and less, they are supporting more. They see there is no problem with that, and maybe that because they are not exploring more of the services, so that they don't have any, because of the money limit, they just buy simple things, but buying like, as we said there, buying electronics and so forth, maybe of the income might affect that. Here's the test there. To conclude that really this is good practice and positive attitude. However, challenges, the speed of the internet, low income, okay, lack of control over the internet usage, lack of slow internet, lack of clear registrations. Three things that are very important for us or for the government of Sultanate Oman to consider from this paper. One of them is to boost the service of the internet in the country. Second, they have to make legislations and regulations to use the e-commerce or e-business, whatever. And the third one, really raise the income of the the people in the country, Omanis or non-Omanis. That's, to come to conclude to this paper, I think these recommendations will be sent to the government, to the concerned people or body in the government of Sultanate Oman, hoping that they will take this on board and really, try to improve if they want a successful e-business or successful use of technologies in the e-governments or regions in Sultanate of Oman. I will stop it here. I know this is a long paper with so much of statistics and so much of details, but I hope that really I make it clear that what's the purpose of it, of the paper presented here, and what are the conclusions or recommendations that are going to be sent over to the government of Sultanate Oman. Thank you so much for listening to me and bearing with me. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Dr. Al-Hamadani. Despite the research has been conducted in Oman, but I think we are really in need for such a research to be conducted even here in Bahrain. We are in a new era, which is after the pandemic has accelerated the whole situation. Thank you so much, Hafizit. Now we will open the discussion. We will give the opportunity to the audience to ask. Would you like Dears to ask?
If I could say that the result also could be or can be applicable in other countries like Bahrain, which is similar to Oman, more or less, or other Gulf countries. So could the result of these or recommendation of this paper could be copied to the. And I think the issue is it's spotted in most of the countries similar to Sultanate of Oman. So the floor is there to explore more about the issue of the challenges that really preventing from or challenging that really hinders use of e-businesses or moving to what's called e-cities. Now we are really after that. I think there's no backward. We have to go forward for everything in our life. So e-businesses, e-cities, e-mobiles, smart mobiles, smart businesses, smart just you name it. It's a big story. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Any question from the audience?
Yes.
This is what, yeah. I just wondered, you said the current penetration for the internet is around 22%. Is that in relation to the use of e-commerce, or is that the use of the internet completely at all? In other words, how widely are people able to access the internet?
Yeah. Should I answer? Yeah. Thank you for this question. And I thought that somebody will ask this question. I've showed you the map of Oman.
Yes.
I've showed you how it's really complicated. It's not easy really to provide internet in every spot in Oman. And also, this is an issue that to provide services. Education is another issue. In an area like a remote area, it's very difficult because people really need to be educated to use technology. But however, now the issues of really the internet in the governments, in the regions, either they are poor or non-exist in some province, in some regions. Other, they have Muscat, for example, wonderful. We have fiber optics. And now the solution, which is, I think, going to take place, and maybe it will take a while, is to use the satellite to provide internet services to the citizens, or to the residents of Sultanate Oman.
Thank you so much. Actually, the time is limiting us, so I'd like to ask only a question to Leila. Okay. How the outcome? Sorry, Leila. This is not. Okay. Your research is amazing. I was impressed. Thank you so much. So, what new ideas about human existence would be explored in the revolution of outcome of your study?
I think using a system that will balance between humans and machine is the good idea for the industry revolution, especially when we want to, for example, as a chatbot system, if we need it for any company, for customer service, for example, sometimes the machine will not answer everything. So we need for human assistant to answer for these questions. For using the human existence much more in these systems, we'll always be having balance between humans and machine, and focusing on that that humans must be available, not disgrading them or removing the human in the loop. Because the human who have the ability to, as I talk, who create and invent and solving problems in order to take the right decision for each company and conclude everything in the business-wise. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Leila. Wish you all the best, inshallah. Looking forward to seeing you a PhD holder. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Al-Hamadani. That's the end. I'm ending up this session, which is session 1. Looking forward to seeing other sessions, session 2, 3, 4, and 5. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the chair of the session and all the presenters. And now we move to our second session for today, titled Digitalization and Sustainable Development, chaired by Dr. Shemli John. Dr. Shemli, please join us to the stage. I would like to ask all the coming presenters to please come to stage, starting with Mr. Ayman Hassan, Ms. Arizu Haraf, Mr. Wael Abdullah, Mr. Muhammad Abdul Karim Azod, Mr. Rami Al-Ouda. Whoever is available, please join us. Ms. Marwa Abu Hassan, and Miss Nihal Al-Najjar. I think that's it, yes.
Thank you, the MC of today's event.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to the highly esteemed academicians and scholars for today's. Hearty welcome to the second session, the visionaries of education, the founder members of education in the field of education, great academicians and scholars. I'm Shamli Pijan. I'm highly indebted for getting this opportunity, very prestigious moment, I would rather say, indebted to the organizing team of Ali University, this conference in collaboration with the UBT and Brunel University, London. We have like 4 important presentations today, and then I may request the presenters to stick on to our time, like 15 minutes. And if the audience agree with me, like let us have the question and answer session after every presentation. I hope that you agree with that. Easy? Okay, with great pleasure. This research study is a vital one, as it can result in facilitating and considering all the major concerns of electronic payment system by understanding the SMEs' expectations in Kuwait from e-payment service providers. Because there are like 33,000 SMEs enterprises in Kuwait, which is a major part of the economy. With anticipation, with a lot of inquiry, we may like to present in front of you the presenter, Mr. Ayman Hassan. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, and thank you for giving me this pleasure to address this distinguished audience. Our research is titled, as you can see, Exploring Small and Medium Enterprises SMEs Expectations of Electronic Payments in Kuwait. And I'm going to delve directly into the topic to save our precious time. So our interest in this topic stems from the significant role small and medium enterprises has to participate in economies. According to the World Bank reports, 60% of employment in the emerging markets is taking place in the small and medium enterprises sector, and this contribution is up to 40% of their GDP. This is only for the formal small and medium enterprises. If we take the informal sector, the numbers are going to be even higher. This is due to the benefits of thriving small and medium enterprises sector for an economy, started from utilizing the local raw materials in a very efficient way, all the way to promoting income equality. In Kuwaiti context, small and medium enterprises comprise a significant segment of the Kuwaiti economy. If we compare the 30,000 small and medium enterprises in Kuwait to the job market, we can see that the job market is heavily reliant on the oversaturated government sector, which hires 83% of the Kuwaiti nationals, whereas well-established sectors like banking sectors, like the telecommunication sector, hire only 72,000 Kuwaitis, and we have 33,000 small and medium enterprises. Nevertheless, this sector is not receiving fair access to financial services, according to the IMF. Kuwait is not an exception in the GCC context in this regard. One of the ways to supporting small and medium enterprises is facilitating their access to efficient e-payment services. Actually, the literature demonstrates a positive correlation between the cashless payment transactions and the level of income development. I'm sorry, I forget totally to go through this. Okay, these are the statistics that we have, and Here we are. So the literature is demonstrating positive correlation between cashless payment transactions and the level of income and economic development in these jurisdictions. The advent of new technologies transforming the role of the regulators in this sense, central banks or other regulators, because the new technologies are a totally new area that central banks are not familiar with, and regulators are trying to develop new approaches to that field. And this is creating a challenging situation for both sides, the small e-payment service providers, as well as the regulators. The small e-payment service providers are facing a very well and heavy regulated sector when it comes to financial services, because central banks wanted to tighten the regulation to prevent any loopholes from occurring, which requires very expensive compliance requirements, and this is creating a very challenging situation for small e-payment service providers. On the other side, the regulators are also facing many challenges in this sense, because the new technology is difficult to be classified under the existing financial services. The system is designed and equipped to deal with banks and financial institutions